Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If you'd like to hear more stories like this one, I'll have another scary story for you right after this. This one begins on the 1st of September. It began innocently enough. Everyone in town woke to their alarms, blinking 1 a.m. It didn't make sense. No power surge or storm had rattled the town overnight. Weird power surge, someone suggested. But then it happened again the next night. At exactly midnight, the clocks all jumped an hour. Midnight became 1 a.m. without the hands sweeping. Phones, ovens, wristwatches, every timekeeper blinked and skipped 60 minutes. People joked about a bonus hour of sleep. I was not amused. On September 14th, I decided to stay awake and see what was stealing our time. I brewed coffee, set up cameras, and sat at my kitchen table with the lights off. 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds p.m. The second hand ticked to 59. Then, without pause, the display changed to 1 a.m. The air in the room thickened. My vision blurred. The house felt different. The walls were the same, but the colors muted, as if viewed through old glass. I could not move. Footsteps sounded on the street outside, dozens of them, soft and rhythmic. Through the window, I saw figures passing by in a slow procession. They wore dark robes and white masks. They carried candles that burned with blue flames. None of them looked at me. They moved through my yard, through my living room, through me, as if I was smoke. The candlelight cast long shadows on my walls, shadows that did not match the figures. In the corner of the room, my grandmother sat knitting. She has been dead 10 years. She did not look up. At 1 o'clock, the room snapped back. My coffee was cold. My cameras showed static. I tried to tell my neighbor what I had seen. I dreamed I was walking, he said, rubbing his eyes, through someone's kitchen. It felt normal. At midnight the next night, I held onto the metal door frame. When the hours skipped, the frame felt like smooth stone, cold, damp. Water dripped somewhere in the dark. Voices murmured in a language I did not know. Hands brushed my fingers, cool and dry. "Wake up," someone whispered in my ear. It was my own voice. I tried. At 1 o'clock, my house was my house again. Dirt was on my shoes. My floor had wet footprints across it. A small pebble lay on the kitchen table. It was not from around here, smooth and black like river rock. By September 20th, the whole town was restless. Mrs. Gable came to my door, her face pale under the porch light. "Have you called the cops?" she asked. "They won't listen," I told her. "They think I'm crazy." The hour skipped. For the 100th time, people whispered of seeing dead relatives, knitting, of walking through strangers' rooms. "What if we leave?" someone suggested. We tried. At 11:30 p.m., we loaded into cars and drove. At midnight, the highway blurred. At 1 a.m., we found ourselves parked back in front of our own houses, engines off, keys in our laps. The next morning, nothing seemed out of place. Lawns were mowed, toys were picked up, breakfasts bubbled on the stoves inside. But when the clocks struck 1 p.m., whispers turned to screams. Cars burst from driveways, smashing through the pavement, tearing up grass. People poured out of their houses, sprinting down the street. They ran until they dropped, faces upturned, mouths open, arms flailing, eyes staring at the sky. Some floated above the ground. By the next day, everyone was gone. Our phones went straight to voicemail. Stores were empty. Houses were abandoned, except for the footprints. I walked through town that night. Every half hour, the footprints were fresh. Soon, they were mine. I traced my steps through the deserted streets, past boarded-up stores, up abandoned porches. My footprints fell into a pattern. I was walking through someone else's town. I knew then I was not meant to stay. At 11:30 p.m. on September, I packed 2 bags, grabbed my son, and left. The hour skipped. At midnight, the road twisted beneath us. By 1 a.m., we were back on the highway, driving toward the city. Lights glittered below us. Sirens wailed. I recognized the song. I knew the steps. The longer I danced, the darker the music became. The beat pulled me down. The city pulsed with a hypnotic rhythm, a rhythm that stole hours. A rhythm that made me want to join the dance. I fought the beat. At 12:58 a.m., I steered toward the exit. At 1 a.m., the highway lurched. The world tilted. We passed a sign. Exit 26. A single word swam before my eyes. Welcome. At the bottom, a smaller print. Fine. Always the fine print. We rolled off the highway onto streets lined with trees. Statues stood on street corners, tall and thin with empty sockets where their heads should be. The road curved rose, climbed. We stopped in front of a house. The porch light flickered. I knocked. The door opened. A woman stood framed in the light. Her smile was wide, revealing teeth that were too sharp, too numerous. "You came back," she said. She stepped aside. "Come in, dance with me." I could not move. She took my son, ignoring his cries, and disappeared inside. 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 58 seconds p.m. My phone blinked. The battery icon drained to 0. The screen went black. When I woke, I was on a velvet cushion. My head throbbed. Someone had braided my hair with thorns. My dress was torn. I struggled to sit up. A woman leaned close. Her eyes were black pits. "You shouldn't have come," she rasped. "The master wants you." She gestured to the stairs behind her. I could not move. She took my hand. Her touch was ice water. I followed her down the stairs. At the bottom, the man waited. His face was pale, drawn, stretched taut over sharp bones. He reached for me. "You are late," he hissed. He grabbed my arm, dragged me closer. He smelled of decay. His eyes were black pits like the woman's. "Why?" I whispered. He smiled. It split his face. "Because," he breathed, "it is time for you to dance." Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you'd like to help support the channel, I'll have links in the description below, where you can send me a super thanks or become a patron. There's also a way to join the Messed Up Origins group, so we can continue telling messed up stories together. If you enjoy these stories and want to hear more, subscribe and stay tuned for new stories every Wednesday and Friday. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care and happy almost Halloween.